One Adam 2-3.
911, where's your emergency?
I'm in the car. I just got hit.
Okay, you injured?
My hair hurt.
Okay. Anybody been drinking or doing any drugs today?
No.
60 Township unit prepared to copy. A bank robbery just occurred.
But you were home alone when these people came into your house?
No, we were with my parents and they shot them.
They did what?
They shot them.
911, where's your emergency?
Somebody just stole my phone and my wallet.
My boss is having a seizure. We're at work and I don't know the address.
911, where's your emergency?
Oh, somebody just got stolen. Somebody stand on the ground about something.
Hey, did you see a car take off?
No, I see somebody shooting literally with a gun.
Okay, we have the call. We have officers in the area.
Hurry. They're leaving. Everybody's leaving. Hurry. My neighbor's been shot and she's pregnant. We need an ambulance, like, as soon as possible.
What's the address?
YPD is needing the fire department to wash blood off the streets at 2 separate locations.
722 request.
Welcome to a new edition of Beyond the Badge. My name is Jerry Clayton. I'm Sheriff of Washtenaw County. Today's episode, we will give you an inside look at the people and operations of Washtenaw County Metro Dispatch, also known to many as 911. Because they are usually the first contact for emergency call, we refer to our dispatchers as the true first responders. 24/7, 365 days a year, we receive calls from all over Washtenaw County. On average, Washtenaw Metro Dispatch handles 1,200 to 1,300 calls a day. Anything from a traffic incident to a homicide. Metro Dispatch serves over 92% of the population of Washtenaw County, and it really facilitates the communication of all of our first responders, police, fire, EMT, and mental health agencies. Because of this central focus of Metro Dispatch, it really allows great efficiency and effectiveness of coordinated services when situations require a multiple agency response. Our Metro Dispatch staff works hard, trains hard, is fully committed to delivering exemplary service. Metro Dispatch is an integral part of the Sheriff's Office mission of creating public safety, providing quality service, and building strong and sustainable communities.
911, where's your emergency? You're at 5th and Huron?
We dispatch for police here. We are the primary answering point for all fire and medical calls as well.
And what's making you so agitated today, sir?
So a lot of people don't know if they should call 911 or not call 911. I always tell them, if you're ever not sure, just call 911 because you're going to get the same people.
I actually tell people always call 911. If you have any question, it doesn't matter. If it's not a life or death emergency, I can put you on hold and come back to you and answer that life or death emergency.
And we would rather have somebody call 911 because then we're getting anti-alley information. So we're getting the phone number that they're calling from as well as some location information.
You have a knife with you? Okay.
We have some of the best dispatchers in the state of Michigan. And I think a couple common traits that you'll see is people are able to work in a team environment. They're good multitaskers, good communicators. We look for someone who's level-headed, able to make on-the-spot decisions.
So we need somebody that can think clearly. They need to be calm. They need to be patient. They need to be compassionate.
All those traits are important because it helps us to effectively obtain the information that is necessary.
What are you wearing today so the officer knows what you're wearing?
The call taker obtains all the necessary information and enters it into what is called CAD. It's a computer-aided dispatch system. It immediately shows up on the dispatcher's computer screen, and then the dispatcher will then call the officer on the radio, but then also send the call screen to the officer's in-car computer so they have access to the same information. Sometimes callers don't understand the reasons for why we ask as many questions as we do. There are reasons behind it.
And I'm going to get an ambulance out to you. I don't want you to be combative with any police officers.
I mean, we send our officers into harm's way all the time.
Every scene they respond to, they know nothing unless we ask the question. So they're relying on us big time for their safety.
So the more accurate we can do our job on the front end of the call and best prepare the officer walking into an unknown situation, the better off we're all going to be.
Yes, sir. Police are on the way. I'm going to transfer you over to the paramedics now.
It's important to keep the caller calm and engaged in order to obtain the information that we need.
And you can pretty much tell within the first few seconds what it is you're going to be dealing with based on their tone of voice, the background noises, screaming, yelling, if they're quiet and talking to you, crying.
So there's different tactics that we use to try to calm that person down.
Because as soon as I can get the address, I can get the help they need faster.
Sometimes you have to be firm. Sometimes you have to, unfortunately cut people off to get the information that we need in a timely fashion so we can get them help.
I understand it's the worst day of their life, and I'm here to help them as much as I can, but for us to soothe them, calm them, and stay calm and collective actually helps them sometimes.
In doing that, it may come across sometimes as we're being, rude or, too blunt or interjecting.
The reason that we need to not get emotionally involved in a call is because that's not gonna help me handle the call, and it's not going to help the person.
We try to remember, I think, how we would want to be treated if someone calls, if we had to call, because several of us had emergencies in the past. I've had friends that are firefighters that they called me and their garage is on fire, and they lose all sense, even though they know this is how we respond and this is what happens. They don't know.
And so we're tasked with being able to segue from call to call, bouncing back and forth, and trying to remain, as calm as possible from each call to the next.
Really, you don't know, because you could answer a phone call that's a 6-year-old looking for math help, and the very next call is, a mother who just found her husband of 40 years not breathing, and you got to switch gears immediately.
You have to be on your game for the 8, 12, 16 hours.
This is very, very serious work. What our staff does is absolutely amazing, and it's challenging work.
It's difficult. It can really take a toll.
You come in, it's a 24-hour operation. You work holidays, nights, and weekends.
It's such a roller coaster of emotions, up and down, up and down. I can take a suicidal call of a parent walking in and finding their child hung themselves, to hanging up and taking a noise complaint, somebody yelling at me because there's a chicken in their yard. I mean, it's such a roller coaster of emotion all the time, and you just have to roll with it. You just keep going, and you go with the flow.
There's bad calls and there's good calls. I mean, my first ever call in public safety was a deceased child. That was my first ever call ever.
I took a call years ago now, but it was a medical call. The people lived in an area that, even though there's an ambulance service there, the response time was quite long. The gentleman had an allergy to bees and got stung by a bee. They didn't have an EpiPen. His children are in the background. His wife is calling, and he passed away. He did not make it because of the whole gamut of circumstances. But those play on you, because I can remember his kids in the background saying, "Dad," those type of things. The nice thing is that that you helped that person. That I did everything that I could on that day and that time to help them. So
Sometimes, though, it is kind of sad because, you get accustomed to that type of occurrence every day, and that's probably not a normal human feeling.
It's one of the reasons why it's ranked in the top 10 highest, most stressful jobs in the nation is the lack of closure, the exposure to the trauma. I think the Sheriff's Office does a pretty good job in how we handle that with the Employee Assistance Program. People can contact that anonymously and, get any help that they need. We have specialized teams through CISM, which is Critical Incident Stress Management Team, and they can do group and individual debriefings upon request. And then really just talking to your peers and saying, hey, this was hard. And sometimes if people have to step out, after a call, they step out after a call. That's where that team is nice, having that team-based environment where somebody can pick up your slack if, you need to take a couple minutes and make a personal phone call or something like that.
But then you have the good calls, like delivering a child over the phone. In my previous job, I would dispatch for medical, and I've helped give birth over the phone, given just word-by-word instructions. That's cool.
I would say there's a lot of ups and downs. You have to be strong. You have to be confident. You have to be able to work a lot of hours. You are away from your family a lot, but it is rewarding when you leave knowing you did help save lives all day.
Summarizing what we do every day, this is the best analogy that I can come up with. Imagine reading thousands of books a year, but only reading the first chapter of it, and you never get the middle or the end of the book. and you have to be okay with that. And knowing that you in some way are making a difference, that's what makes us pick up the next call.
Our communications operators and our call takers, they're doing meaningful work. And that keeps them coming back every single day. There's probably places that you could go where you don't have to be exposed to the trauma, but knowing that it's meaningful work and, it has value to our communities, I think that's why they do it.
Knowing that you're there, for someone in an absolute crisis on one of the worst days of their lives, and to be the person that if you're able to bring them comfort or help in some sort of way, it's rewarding.
I talk to a lot of people I'll never meet, but I try to be there for them as much as I can.
Thank you for watching this episode of Beyond the Badge and sharing in the day of the life of our Metro Dispatch staff, our true first responders. Everything that we do here at Washtenaw County Sheriff's Office begins with them. I love this job.